Dear listeners, welcome to the fourth episode of our podcast series, The Esma of Your Zodiac. As in previous episodes, this one is also inspired by the writings of Muhyiddin Ibn Arabi. You can listen to the full volumes of his masterpiece, Al-Futuhat al-Makkiyah, here on our channel. Are you ready to meet your own divine name? There's a voice inside every human being, a voice that doesn't speak in words, not a voice you've heard from your mother, your teacher, or a book. And yet it's always been there. When you fall silent, it speaks. When you forget yourself, it remembers you. Perhaps that voice is your divine name, the Esma that belongs only to you. The secret you were given when you entered this world is not your fate. It's your journey. Ibn Arabi says, every human is a mirror of one of God's names. As that name manifests within them, the human walks toward perfection. This means you are not just a body. You are not merely a personality, a career, or an identity. You are a reflection of a name. But maybe you've forgotten that name. Maybe you searched for it in the wrong places, confused it with other names, or got lost in its shadow. In this episode, we begin a journey to remember the name you've forgotten. When a person is born, they are given a name. But that name is only a call. Your true name is the divine word written on your heart, the one that has never been spoken aloud. Perhaps your true name is Al-Halim, but your anger keeps you from recognizing it. Perhaps it is Al-Wakil, but your need for control blinds you from trusting it. Perhaps you carry Ar-Rahim, but your compassion turns inward and you cannot extend it to others. That's why today we pause, we listen, we look within, to remember the name that lives in silence. Are you ready to meet your own Esma? Truly ready to embrace its pain, its beauty, the burden it gives, and the path it opens? Because this is not a discovery, it's a remembrance. And like every act of remembrance, it hurts. But within that hurt lies a peace that belongs only to you. Ibn Arabi once said, when a servant recognizes the name that manifests within them, they forget themselves. For from that moment, they no longer live as themselves, but as that name. In this episode, we will talk about how that name was placed within you, how to recognize its presence, and how to live as one with it. According to Ibn Arabi, all existence is the visible manifestation of God's divine names. Your name might be Aisha, Ali, Zainab, or something else entirely. But if the name you're called by is also the one inscribed on your soul, then that name is a divine name. In Al-Futuhat al-Makkiyah, Ibn Arabi writes, the essence of the servant is the vessel of the name they carry. As that name becomes manifest, the servant draws closer to their own truth. What does this mean? It means you were created for the manifestation of that name. Your temperament, your personality, your talents, your wounds, your inclinations, all of them exist so that this name might unfold through you. Ibn Arabi teaches that every being mirrors one specific name of God. Your mirror is different from mine. Even if two people carry the same name, the way they reflect it will never be identical, because a divine name is not one-dimensional. It is an infinite light, reflected in countless forms. In Fusus al-Hikam, it is said, whichever name God manifests through his servant, that servant's perfection depends on how fully that name is reflected within them. So your journey toward completion, your path to perfection, is about recognizing your name and living through it. According to Ibn Arabi, the outer aspect, Zahir, of your Esma is the traits, habits, and actions that others can see. The inner aspect, Batin, is the truth hidden deep within your soul. For example, a person may appear quiet on the outside, yet within them lies the powerful name Al-Qahar, the subduer. That name waits silently within their stillness, patiently awaiting its moment to rise, its own inner resurrection. That's why Ibn Arabi warns, a person should not be understood by their outer self, but by the name that manifests within them. Sometimes you cannot even recognize yourself, because your true self has not yet emerged, and that not yet might be the story of the rest of your life. Perhaps the truest version of you is still waiting, and what's waiting for you is your Esma. But how will you recognize it? Ibn Arabi says this name often comes disguised, sometimes through the challenges that test you, sometimes through emotions that keep repeating, sometimes through the burning ache of longing, and sometimes through a feeling that escapes you but never leaves you alone. The divine name touches the heart of the servant. If the heart is ready, it manifests. If not, it stays in the shadows. That's why if you live without knowing your Esma, you live only as your shadow, and that shadow grows heavy. But once you begin to live with awareness of your name, it opens a doorway within you, and from that moment on, you're no longer merely living. Think of it this way. If you could be a single word, which word would you be? A prayer? An intention? A virtue? Which quality within you has yet to find its voice? Because your Esma doesn't define you, it calls you. Let's end with the words of Ibn Arabi. A human being is as human as they can beautifully carry one of God's names. To carry that name, that's the very reason you exist, and that name is still waiting for you. It isn't something you learn, it's something you sense, and that sense often reveals itself through pain, longing, repetition, dreams, desire, or silence. Ibn Arabi says, "The divine name is both near and hidden from the servant. The servant does not hear it as a sound, but as a state." So now, let's turn inward. Has there been a feeling you've wrestled with your entire life? A recurring ache, being hurt over and over, feeling abandoned, wanting control, searching endlessly for meaning, never finding peace? That feeling is the closest frequency to your divine name. Because the Esma doesn't always call you through comfort. Sometimes it calls through fire. Constant restlessness? Al-Ghafur. A deep craving for safety? Al-Mumin. An endless need to control? Al-Wakil. Notice how often you repeat certain words, maybe not as prayers, but as echoes. God, give me patience. Forgive me. Show me the way. I just want to let go. These repetitions don't come from your subconscious. They come from your soul, because your heart is constantly calling its own name. When you say forgive, your heart whispers Al-Ghafur. When you say open, it calls Al-Fatah. When you say protect, it calls Al-Hafiz. We are often drawn to certain people for a reason. They either teach us something we've forgotten or mirror something we've lost. Ibn Arabi says, "The servant first recognizes their Esma through another person. The eye moves from the outside to the inside. So, who are you drawn to? The one who surrenders everything? Al-Wakil. The endlessly patient one? Al-Halim. The steadfast and unshakable? Al-Mateen. They might be reflections of your forgotten name. Sometimes a person enters your life and breaks you open, but in truth, that person only shows you the shadow of the name you have yet to embody. Someone belittles you. Perhaps they've denied your Al-Aziz. Someone abandons you. Maybe you've forgotten your Al-Wakil. Someone humiliates you. Perhaps your Al-Jalil longs to rise. Ibn Arabi says, "Injustice is known by the shadow of the name. Justice lives through its light." Maybe you're disturbed by people who talk too much. Perhaps Al-Alim is stirring within you. Maybe you have little patience for the sensitive. Perhaps Ar-Rahim in you has been suppressed. What repels you the most may, in fact, be your unrefined divine name. According to Ibn Arabi, dreams are the purest reflection of the Esma. A dream is the mirror of the unseen, and the Esma manifests through the unseen. Do you dream of flying? Al-Ali. Do you feel alone in crowds? Al-Muhaymin. Do you see light? An-Nur. Pay attention to your dreams, because they're not just your subconscious speaking. There are names within them that have never yet been spoken to you. And even in waking life, notice the places where you feel most at peace: by the sea, in the mountains, in solitude, or among people. That comfort isn't random. It's the atmosphere that nourishes your inner name. Silence. That's al-Kalam. Crowds and interaction. Al-Basit. High places. Al-Ali. Perhaps you've known your name all along, but never had the courage to approach it. It didn't run from you. You ran from it. But now, that running ends, because in this moment we are no longer speaking to you. We are speaking to the name within you. Finding your name doesn't mean writing it on paper. Finding your name means burning within it. Because the divine name doesn't just recognize you, it builds you. In Al-Futuhat al-Makkiyah, Ibn Arabi writes, "The manifestation, tajalli, is the appearance of the divine in the servant. Once the name is revealed, the servant no longer remains as themselves. They become the mirror of that name." This means you don't simply know your name, you begin to live through it. Maybe your name is Al-Halim, the forbearing, but you're still impatient. Why? Because that name hasn't yet unfolded within you. Ibn Arabi says, "Every name first becomes a state within the servant. Then that state merges with the being of the servant. Finally, the servant becomes the mirror of that name." There are 3 stages. The arrival of the name. You feel a calling within your heart, maybe through a prayer, maybe through pain, but the name isn't yet clear. The test of the name. The name begins to challenge you. You can't forgive easily, because Al-Ghafur within you demands struggle before awakening. The unfolding of the name. The same events happen, but your response changes. That's when the name has opened within you. Ibn Arabi calls this dying before death. When a servant meets their name, their old self dies, and only the name remains. From that moment, it is the name that speaks, the name that sees, the name that breathes. But it's a delicate threshold, because here you must surrender all sense of ownership. You're no longer a patient person. You are the vessel of As-Sabur. You're not a knowledgeable person. You are the mirror of Al-Alim. You're not simply compassionate. You are the visible form of Ar-Rahim. This transformation happens only when you dare to face your name, not just its light, but its shadow. Ibn Arabi says, "A name does not only refine through its light, it educates through its shadow." If Ar-Rahim lives in you, life will break your heart again and again until you learn the depth of compassion. If Al-Qahar is within you, you'll face moments where you can't control yourself, so that you may understand the true meaning of power. That's why discovering your name isn't easy. It doesn't make you beautiful at first. It breaks you, molds you, grinds you down. But in the end, it leaves you with your truest self. And that you is no longer just you. It's you, reborn through the name. Ibn Arabi describes this meeting as a form of divine love. The name is loved within the servant turns toward it, and within the servant, the name reaches perfection. This is the truth of love. When you meet your Esma, you don't just recognize it, it recognizes you. So now ask yourself, are you ready for that name to awaken within you? For its weight, its trials, its light, and its purpose? Because once it arrives, you will never be the same again. You are no longer just yourself. You are now one of His names, carrying your Esma. Is it a burden or a mission? Perhaps you've finally recognized the voice that has been calling you for years. But now, a deeper question arises. What does it mean to carry this name? Is it only awareness or a sacred responsibility? Ibn Arabi writes, "When a divine name manifests in the servant is no longer its bearer. They become its representative. You are no longer merely you. You are the custodian of a name, a direction, a secret, a prayer, a remembrance. And every trust comes with a weight. If your name is Ar-Rahim, you're not required to forgive everyone, but not forgiving will hurt you deeply, because your soul cannot live in conflict with its own name." Imam Al-Ghazali says in Ihya Ulum ad-Din, "To carry a name is not only to reflect a virtue, it is to unveil its secret. That's why the burden of your Esma belongs only to those who understand it. Once you know it, you can't step outside it, because you can no longer run from yourself. Ibn Arabi takes it further. When your Esma unfolds through you, it is so that you may bear witness for others. Meaning, your patience is not just for yourself. It's to guide those who cannot yet endure. And when you feel overwhelmed, when you whisper, "This is too much for me," remember what Abdul Qadir al-Jilani said. When God manifests to a servant through a name, that name both burns and carries them, for God protects His own name. It will not harm you. It will shape you. At first, you'll resist, you'll break. But in the end, you'll realize what you ran from was older than you. And as you surrender, the weight becomes light. Rumi said, "What you thought was a burden was in truth the wings meant to carry you." In the end, carrying your Esma becomes neither pride nor pain. It becomes breath, movement, intention. Even in silence, others will feel the name you carry. And one day, someone will meet you and see not just a beautiful person, but a divine name made visible. So understand this. The name you carry is not only for you, it was written upon you, but its echo may be the healing for someone else. And now, the prayer begins. O Lord, teach me to be worthy of my Esma. You created me with a single word. My very name is an echo of yours. But I forgot. I wasn't ready to carry it. Life showed me only its shadow. I broke, I wandered, I forgot. Yet something inside me always remembered the call. Now I answer. O Hadi, guide me. Lead me back from my confusion. Draw me out from the shadow of my name, and let me walk in its light. O Rahman, teach me to love as you love, to accept myself, and to listen without judgment. O Halim, grant me the wisdom hidden within patience. O Fatah, unlock the doors of my heart. I've closed myself, forgotten and grown small. Now I long to open again. O Ghafur, teach me to forgive myself. You have already forgiven me. Why then do I remain harsh toward my own soul? O Nur, show your light in my darkness. I wish to see myself, but only through you. O Wakil, teach me surrender. Let me trust without control and entrust every state back to you. O Latif, soften me. I've grown hard, hiding behind my shell. Teach me again the grace of tenderness. O Adil, restore balance. In giving everyone their due, I lost my own place. Weigh me again by your justice. O Saber, when my patience runs dry, hold my hands. Let me grow not through noise, but through silence. O Alim, I have learned much, but lived little. Teach me not information, but wisdom. My Lord, I am ready to say yes to this name. I am ready to carry it, to burn with it, to rise with it, to live by it, not just to know the name, but to embody it, to walk with it, to speak through it, to touch others with it. O Allah, if I am the bearer of one of your names, make me worthy of it. Let me live it not as sound, but as state, soul, and heart. I have met my Esma, and now I wish to live by it, and through it, to return to you. Write something simple, like I love Allah, because your words might become the prayer someone else needs tonight. And if you felt this journey within you, subscribe to Ibn Arabi's legacy and walk with us on the path of remembrance, reflection, and awakening. Your soul's story is just beginning.